Hey YouTube, so I got a pretty cool little comparison for you today. Two very similar guns in overall concept, design, even in the airsoft bit, they're very similar as well. I have the VFC SCAR-L CQC, and I have the PTS Masada ACR 5.56 CQB. Awesome guns, both of them. I love them both out of the box. I would hate to have to decide between the two because they both have some pretty awesome strengths and they have some shortcomings. I wish you could combine them and make one amazing gun. I'm just going to work my way from the front of the guns to the back of the guns and do a direct line-to-line comparison. As far as the front of the guns, I currently have the same flash hider on both guns. I do like the way this gun looks as everything is closer together. The barrel is nearly the same length. It's a little bit shorter. I like the handguard on this, I do, but I think it's a little too much Magpul. It really screams Magpul. I much prefer the Remington ACR or WMSK handguard. I have purchased a like new black PTS rail, which I'm really excited for. I really like rails on my guns. I like to have the vertical grip. I like to index it. I like it way more than this setup. And I do realize you can get a nice vertical grip there. I just prefer the rail. I may never use it, but it's there if I ever needed to stick anything on it. Real steel, however, I don't use rails. I actually have Midwest Industries or Noveski or a Keymods type or just a regular free float. I prefer for real steel so I can really get my hand around it and control the recoil. With airsoft, not so much. I prefer the rail just for the stuff you can put on it. Anyway, these sights, I just like the front sights on both of these guns. I really don't. This is nice because it flips up, so it does have the advantage there. I do not like how far back it is. I wish this were actually not here and it were rail all the way down. That would be considerably better, which I think the Remington ACR and some of the newer stuff may have as far as the real gun. Now, this was originally Magpul's design, the Magpul Masada. They sold it to Bushmaster, and then later Remington now has the rights to make the gun as well. Next up, this gun. I do like that. I wish it were spring-loaded. Personally, that would be really nice, but not a deal breaker. The front QD on this being located here, I find is totally useless. I much prefer it further out. If I'm going to take the time to convert my 1-point MS4 here, if I'm going to take the time to move this, I'm not putting it here. I want it way out here, and I personally like doing that when I convert it to 2-point a lot more. A note on the sling. The QD units are aftermarket. These are real steel from Parker Mountain Machine on the SCAR-L, modified to work with the VFC. They are far better placed, and they're way better than the ones on the Masada. Now, one thing I've always struggled with airsoft is the QD mounts. The mounts themselves capture my QD with the Magpul Masada, so that is a huge plus. They're excellent, really good quality, and they capture, and they whereas a lot of the other stuff doesn't. So I like that. The one thing is when you do safe and hang with this butt stock, it automatically just goes out, which I really don't like because I run it all super short. So this is probably not the best stock for me on this particular weapon system. I probably would be better off with a fixed stock, which I have coming to test. If I don't like it as much, or if it changes, it makes the length of pull longer, I will just pin this sucker or wait for Deranged Airsoft's new latch system, which will help prevent that. Battery space, everything on this gun and the Masada is in the handguard. Ample room, excellent setup. If you're going to HPA it, you can run your FCU up here and your LiPo here and just have your airline down here. Now, the VFC had some, I bought this pre-owned and it didn't work. Gearbox was mint, but the connector here was bad, as a lot of these are. So I did not run anything back here. So there's no battery or anything. So this has a Wolverine SMP. Everything is in here. Battery and control unit are all right in here, as well as the airline. And it seems to fit fine. It's really nice. I haven't had any issues with it. The downside is I have to bring tools with me every time I get that armed and ready for a skirmish or a game. I won't have that issue with this when I do that. As far as the ambidextrous control systems, the Masada, hands down, best control user interface by far. I find the this release to be in a better spot. I find this is incredible. I really like this. I like that. That is, of course, the way the real steel one is. That is a super huge advantage for all platforms like this. The SCAR-L is really nice. It doesn't have that feature, but it does have a bolt holdback in the fact that the SMP gets caught on the slide here every time. I don't want to pull it back too far because it will get caught. I do like that out of the box, the SCAR has rails. This doesn't have rails. I already talked about that. I will put them on. Trigger and everything feels better on the Masada. Everything about it feels better. One glaring issue that I find with the Masada is that when you're sighting down it, this plane is so even and they're all so, you know, it's so short. The body is so short, which is an advantage normally. But in airsoft, if you wear face protection, it is not. That actually makes it hard to get down on the sights, whereas this is much higher. Everything goes higher, and then you have like a T1 riser, absolute co-watt riser, which I will employ on this as well. And it's just better to sight through. It's a better sight picture. As far as weight, the Masada, when it's going to have the rail on it and everything's done, it will probably be very close to this. I think the Masada is a little tad bit lighter, and I can verify that later and put it in the description. Both really good platforms. That feels more AR-ish than this does. They both feel familiar. Magazine compatibility, this is where they really start to differ. The VFC takes everything. It locks up with the 190 metal mag mid cap, little wobble, very nice lock up. The PTS 120 round PMag, a little more wobble. Then, of course, the PTS EPM, the hottest new mag out there. Almost no wobble. It locks up with everything and feeds with all of these. The Masada, on the other hand, does not really engage my Lonix flash mag very well. It engages this fine. Let me try that again. Yeah, so you really got to force it in here, but it will capture the mag 190 round mid cap. But you really got to force it in. However, with the PTS PMag, great lockup, very little wiggle, locks in. And of course, the EPM takes a little bit, just a little bit more to get up in there. I'm not sure why, but it has zero wobble. Definitely the best mag. Quick note about the mags. This one looks better. This one looks less good, but it is better functionally. One glaring problem that I've found is that ramming these in, just putting them in, you know, whatever, the PMag has it because it doesn't have the simulation ridge. Now, a real gun would have this filled with bullets and it would just go in. It would not catch, but these actually will catch the mag well. So that is definitely a poor design element. For airsoft, I think it's pointless. So they should put some kind of simulated bullet line up in here or something to at least get it that high so that it does not catch. Of course, you could just file that off if you wanted to. I probably wouldn't do that to a $25 mag. But both really nice CNC machined upper on the Masada. The Masada has a much heavier price tag than the VFC SCAR-L. I think that's like $389, and this is like $509 right now. In the future, you can still get that all day long. This one you really have to hunt for. The $509 ones, they're still out there. The SVs are bought up pretty much everywhere. A lot of the components and small parts are bought up everywhere. So it is really difficult to find additional stuff for the Masada, which is a nice thing for resale value, but definitely a hindrance when you're getting into it. But both really nice platforms. The polymer is definitely better here in the Masada. This is the DuPont polymer. This is more of an ABS plastic feel. I do believe it's polymer. It's very thick. It's pretty tough. I don't think you really have much of an issue. The stock on the Masada is worlds better than the stock on the SCAR-L, and I think that's the same way they are real steel as well. The SCAR-L, while it works and functions great, it just doesn't feel quality like this does. If you have the ability to handle either of these guns, go ahead and do that. I think you can develop your own opinion. leave in the comments which one you would pick and why. I would appreciate that. I may come down one day to having to pick one of these two, because I just have too many guns I'm not going to use. And this one's already set up. This one will be soon, and I'll play with them and see which one I like better. I have a feeling I'll like the Masada better. I have a really hard time trying to find a reason to hate Magpul. I really don't like that they're so common now. But damn, they just have good styled stuff. Their theory behind their products is superb. It works. And they're inexpensive for the most part. So I try not to like it because it is Magpul, but I end up Magpulling the crap out of everything. So yeah, please like, comment, subscribe, give me your opinion between these two guns, the SCAR-L and the PTS Magpul Masada ACR CQB. Which one would you guys pick and why? So thanks again. We're going to cut this off just shy of 11 minutes.